Knowing the different types of laptops can inform your decision on which one is best for your workflow. This specific Asus ProArt might be good for someone who is working in graphic design or video editing, but it may not be as good as someone who is looking to buy a gaming laptop, even though the parts on the inside of the computer are very similar. Knowing the ins and outs of types of laptops that are out there can help inform your decision on buying the correct one that matches your workload. That being said, why is a laptop with an Intel i9 and a 40 series graphics card not ideal for gaming? Let me show you. Now, all that is not to say that this computer is bad for gaming, but it is not what it is made for. So, for example, if you're buying a computer like this, it comes with an OLED 120 Hz display. OLEDs are great, but they're not necessarily ideal for a lot of specific types of gaming, because there are certain games that are more prone to burn-in, which may damage your OLED display. For example, when you are getting some kind of gaming laptop, you're going to want to stick to some kind of IPS panel and even get more than 120 Hz. But this is perfect for something like graphic design, when you need something that will look the best and all the colors will be the most accurate while you're making sure that the image that you're looking at is the best possible image you can think of. But these computers are beefy. As you can see, they have plenty of cooling, something that is very important for not only a gaming laptop, but also something like this for editing or otherwise. The 4060 GPU and the Intel i9 are good for gaming, but you may want a more gaming-centered CPU, something like a Ryzen 7, maybe even a Ryzen 9. Now, the benefits to a computer like this are great. It has expandable memory, so if the 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM aren't enough, you can always go up to 32 if you can afford it. And it also has multiple NVMe slots, so if you did want to upgrade your SSD to something like a 2 terabyte or even sometimes more, it has plenty of room to do so. And if you are buying something like this for its repairability, it's good to note that not only are the fans in a good position, so if the fans were to go out in the future, you are able to repair them without having to take apart your entire computer, but also speakers might be something that you'd be inclined to replace, especially if they are under heavy strain and they start to go out. Now, one thing to note is that if you are going to replace the display, displays are very, very expensive, and you do have to take apart the entire laptop in order to get to the display and replace it. Now, taking out or replacing your motherboard is something that you may never have to do, but in the event that there is some damage on it or it does need to be repaired, knowing how to take it out is always important. So, on most laptops, it is always good to make sure that all of the cables are triple checked, that you have taken them off correctly, and then look around and make sure that you've taken off all of the screws that would be there. And then when you are ready to go ahead and remove the motherboard, go ahead and give it a bit of a tug and make sure that there's no resistance. If you are meeting resistance like I am, it means that there are other screws that you will have to take off beforehand. Like these hidden fan screws. But once you did undo all of them, it should be rather easy to lift up the logic board. And underneath that, you will have to remove the speaker as well. Now, before we go into a little more in depth on the actual logic board itself, the reason why you do have to usually remove the entire logic board in order to replace the display is because of these screws here. In order to take off the actual display, on the back of the top case, you'll be able to get under and remove the adhesive. And that separates the top case with the keyboard and the trackpad from the actual display. A few more specific things about the actual logic board itself, that if you do buy something secondhand, like for example, if you had bought this computer used because it's a little bit cheaper, first thing you should always do is replace the actual thermal paste on the logic board itself. And this might be a little bit cheaper to do through a company like ours as opposed to doing it yourself if you are a little worried about messing it up. Now, if you are buying something used and secondhand, it's always good to give it a tune-up. So for example, what people like to do when they buy a used laptop is replace the thermal paste that's going to be underneath the heatsink. That's just about as easy as either doing it yourself, making sure that you have removed the actual heatsink and fans correctly. But if you did want to, you could definitely send it in to a shop like ours and we could take care of all of that for you. But in this case, it is as easy as taking off the 4 screws on the CPU and then the 3 screws on the GPU, and then making sure that your fans are undone here on the logic board. But that should be just about everything for this specific model that you would need to either replace or repair. And then if you have this specific model and you need parts, feel free to take a look. All of the parts that were shown in this video should be on the screen and in the description. So if you did need a display or a fan or a speaker, feel free to go ahead and take a look. And comment below if you want a more specific repair on this specific unit. Say you needed a little bit more information on how to change the display and you wanted to start to finish, feel free to let us know and we can definitely do that for you. But if you haven't already, feel free to check out the rest of our videos here on TEKDEP. And if you did need help, feel free to send in a mail and repair. All that information is in the description and on our website. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.